Well, good morning, Glue Troopers. Max and Max's Models here. So, it turned out I had to do so much putty, pre-painting, priming, things like that on the B9 robot that it was easier just to move the whole operation out to the Tarbis where I have all the stuff at. And unfortunately, I knew I was going to have some issues with the wheel tracks, the legs, and I did. And we're talking about several coats of prime putty, going back and forth, still not able to get those seams to disappear. And then I realized why. Although everything was clamped and aligned and all the alignment pins and everything were in place, the simple fact is that the trucks down at the bottom don't exactly line up. There's a little bit of a ridge, and unless you're going to file down or putty up half of the face of the thing, it's just not quite going to line up. And as we all know, that's a really hard thing on a flat surface to make disappear. Although I did manage to get it to do it on the back of one of them. But anyway, it looks like I'm probably going to end up just putting a piece of a thin stock styrene over it to cover it up. Another thing where that's concerned is the little door for the soil sampler. I would just want to glue it shut, but for some reason it keeps moving a little bit, not quite straight, and I kept putting it back in position and gluing it down. I come back later and it drifted out. It could be the two pins, because it has two pins so it can swing, maybe just a hair out of alignment with the rest of the thing. So I probably should have just shaved them off and glued it in place. But again, I'll probably just cover it with a piece of stock styrene. Not a big deal. It's overall a really good kit. This is just one thing, and I'm being a little OCD about it because I really want the front seams to disappear. But the brain and everything went together without too much trouble. Just followed the instructions. Of course, you got to pre-paint everything. It's just weird. They have all those clear parts, and then I wound up having to paint them. And you're going to use a lot of aluminum and chrome paint on this, but it's because it's a fairly sizable model. But that all went together without much argument. There are some black components inside. The place where I made a mistake was I just tack glued the top and bottom on, just a little of the torso, just so I could get it painted, and then I was going to take it apart, put everything together. I must have used more glue than I thought I did, because I can't get it to pull apart. And if I try to use a solvent, I'm going to damage the paint job. So I'm just going to try and work around getting everything into the torso section, because you do have reasonably good accessible area, but it'd be a lot easier if I had everything still apart. The good thing is that the sides, one side I got the seam to completely vanish, and the other it's so thin that I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to worry about it. It looks good. I mean, this isn't going to go on the shelf. There's a point in time when you just kind of go, yeah, you know what, good enough. But the brain was really nice. I got all my color paints out, and the copper and the amber and the other colors, and got the chest lights painted. And actually, to get the right color of green, the only green I had that was the color that I wanted was enamel. So since the paints don't touch each other, this has a combination of enamel and acrylics on it, and that'll go in. It's not having to work with the whole upper unit together is a little bit difficult. It's going to cause a few problems, but I don't think anything serious. And the paint job's so good that I'm really happy with it. So I'm like, okay, leave that alone. And once I get that sheet styrene on the front of the wheels, I'll feel a lot better about it. Or the front of the tracks, I'll feel a lot better about it. But tomorrow's my last day at home, because we head out for the wedding the next day, and I won't be back till Sunday. So of course, no live stream this weekend. Hopefully I'll get a chance to do some more work on it. Don't expect to finish it, but I would like to make some headway. I'm giving it the rest of the night to gas out. Pretty much all the internal panels have been painted. I'm not getting into a lot of detail on the ones that are behind the ribbed glass on the lower torso, because you'll hardly be able to see them. But I really do want to do a nice job on the parts that you can see. And of course, we have the decals, so the buttons and everything that I'll have to put on. But I don't, at the moment, knock on wood, I'm not anticipating any serious problems other than getting a few things inside the torso. And I really don't think that's going to be that difficult. It's going to be awkward more than anything else. There's one thing I did that actually worked out halfway decent. I wanted to put either white or yellow in the little hieroglyphics in the brain, and I'd already painted it, and I'd painted it with lacquer. So I went ahead and used some thinned acrylics, some white and some yellow, and just blobbed it on there and then give it a second and then wiped it off. And it actually worked pretty decent. I'm not unhappy with the way it looks. I was trying to get a paint pen or something to go in there, but those things are just so tiny. Even the tiny paint pen has trouble getting in there and getting any kind of transfer. But I did paint a few things with the tip of a pen. I mean, like a needle pen. And you still wind up having to dab it up. A paint drop will only get so small. And so we're making real good headway on it. And that's where I am with that. I'll see you guys next week. Maybe get out one more video before I go. But if not, I'll see you guys next week. You take care of yourselves. And as always, model on.